Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. So, let's talk about Sonny and Miss Wu. Um, so they're pretty much talking business. Miss Wu wants to, do gambling and stuff like that. And Sonny's like, listen, you do your little business, whatever, that's fine. But he's always had a stance on no drugs. And so he's like, yo, listen, do your thing, but if there's any sort of drugs whatsoever, I am shutting that down ASAP. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I get, in a mob or whatever, you gotta sit there and tough talk, talk tough and everything like that. But I mean, Sonny's my guy, but I wasn't exactly the way he was not there talking to Miss Wu, I felt like he was talking down to her, like, he was, calling the shots and everything like that. And this is supposed to be some sort of partnership. So I wasn't exactly fond of the way he was not there talking to her. But on the whole no drug policy, that I can actually 100% stand by. Now, Miss Wu does talk about, rumblings of a new family, gathering power off seas. Um, and to be honest, here's the thing: they've been talking about that for a hot minute. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I thought that they just kind of talked about it and just kind of like, all right, I guess we're gonna come back to it at some point. um, and I remember in a couple of my reviews, I was like, "So, Sonny, you still concerned about that new play that's in town? No, dealing with Nina drama and Carly drama. Awesome." Um, he does tell Miss Wu that, Brick is going to be his second in command, handling, a lot of the other stuff that Jason handled to an extent. Um, but we do find out the new player, Jennifer Smith. And to be honest, I actually had to sit there and go on Wikipedia right before I started this video because I was like, cool, unknown woman. I've seen her before, but I can't sit there and since they didn't actually say her name or anything like that, I guess I'm just going to be playing a bunch of guessing games. Awesome. So, she is on the phone talking to someone about, gathering power or whatever. And once, she acquires this ice princess, she's going to have enough power and money and stuff like that. And, she'll be coming to Port Charles to be doing, who knows what. But she is planning on taking over. Um, Now, Dante, Sam, and Anna, I'm going to be honest, this scene was actually going somewhere. It was actually going somewhere. This wasn't another just, brainstorming kind of, meeting. It actually went somewhere. So the Ice Princess is actually going to be, it's on the dark web. It's going to be auctioned. And, Anna is the one that's going to be given the funds or whatever because, you need a certain amount of money just to be like, yo, listen, if you don't got bank with us, if you don't got any bank, then we're not giving no locations or anything like that. So Anna's like, Duke, left me with a lot of money or whatever, and it's very questionable. So I wasn't actually really too keen on trying to use it for anything, but she's like, well, this is a good time to use it. So she fronts the money, they get the location. It's in somewhere. I can't exactly remember where, but it's in somewhere. Um, So she gets the location. Jennifer Smith gets the location. And I'm pretty sure where Victor's going, he's going to be trying to, get the Ice Princess as well. So it's going to be interesting when everything goes down and see how it plays out. Now, I don't think that Sam and Dante are going. I think it's just going to be Anna. Now, Anna kept calling Valentine. And I'm not gonna lie, here's the thing, unless I see him on Instagram sometimes, I'm just like Valentine. That name sounds familiar because he's been, MIA for a hot minute. But you do see Valentine show up with Jennifer Smith and some sort of captain sailor kind of get up going on with some very questionable accent. And yeah, so it kind of sucks if he's going undercover and he's not keeping that in on the loop. But that's just their game that they play. So yeah. So So Ava comes in. Laura was sitting there talking to Esme, and Nicholas was sitting there defending her. Hey, listen, I'm just gonna let it play out. The evidence is on Trina, so we'll just let the courts decide, and yada yada yada. Okay, Nicholas Cole. Ava comes in there, and Laura is like, yo, listen, let them get the room, let them talk. Ava pretty much is like, yo, listen, I'm not leaving. I'm not letting this chick run me out of my place. This is my place too. I don't like her. And, she pretty much kind of states that, as far as, backing Trina and being like, yo, listen, this woman has already done a lot to me. And I'm not going to let her get away with damaging, Trina's life. And of course, Nicholas defends her. So at this point, Ava's like, listen, this woman is not there playing you for a damn fool. And, if I gotta sit there and be here to sit there and protect you from yourself, then that's what I'm gonna do. And of course, Nicholas like, oh, you don't think I can sit there and see a con and stuff like that a mile away? You think that she's playing me? You think that I'm so stupid and naive? Yes, yes, I do. And the majority of the fans also agree. Hell, even Brock TV agrees. So, he was like, oh, you think I will sit there and be that naive? Yes, Nicholas. I 100% do think that you'll be that naive. Um, Now, more or less, Abe was like, listen, we ain't sharing the same bed. And at first, Nicholas was like, oh, so you're gonna leave? And Abe was like, no. Did you not just hear what I said? That this is like our thing, this is our place? Yeah, I'm not leaving. We got like hella rooms. So I'm just gonna stay in one of those. I'm keeping an eye on you, keep an eye out on you, and yeah. So Spencer got finished talking to Sonny real quick. Well, then he just like says something and then he just walked off. Now, when Spencer gets back, he runs into Esme, and Esme is like, "Oh, well, where'd you go?" And Spencer's like, "Oh, I just went to go work out." You went to go work out in a dress shirt, pretty much. Like, are you serious? And of course, Esme's like, "Oh, well, you only did it to get away from me." I'm like, Esme, so we picking fights now? This is what we doing? But of course she is, because, this is part of her plan. So Laura leaves, because at first Laura's like, listen, why don't everybody just calm down and chill? Why don't you come out with me and Kevin? And, Spencer's like, no, we got stuff to talk about. So the minute Laura leaves, Esme's like, yeah, we do got to talk about you being in love with Trina. And Spencer's like, well, it's complicated. Listen, let's just take Esme out the equation for a minute. Um, no person wants to ever hear those words. Hey, you're in love with somebody else. It's complicated. Are you kidding me? Like, really? That's your answer. It's complicated? How about just leave and it could just be uncomplicated? And more or less, that is what Esme says. Like, you know what? Listen, I'm not doing this with you. Like you know, all the evidence is pointing towards Trina, and you're still blaming me. Now, at this point, this is part of Esme's game to argue and to, threaten to leave in order to get a bigger grip on Spencer. And that's literally what she does. She's like, all right, listen, I'll just go back. Hope I get enough money for my trust fund, and I'll be good. And of course, Spencer's like, no, don't leave. I mean, my feelings are complicated, but, if we stay, then we can sit there and work it out and yada, yada, yada. Now, and, if this wasn't for the little game that she's sitting there playing, hell no is she going to sit there and stay and try to have you work out your feelings. You must have lost your. So of course she's like, all right, yeah, and then she hugs him. She has that look on her face, that psychotic look on her face. So yeah, we she's definitely knowing how to play the game, which is scary because she's learning at a very young age how to sit there and play this manipulation game. And I mean, hell, now, she's well, when she was alive or whatever, she's been doing it for a while. You gotta sit there and wonder when did that start? Um, so it seems more or less that Esme plan is kind of more or less kind of on track. Um, which would please Ryan. So so everyone's gathered at Curtis and Portia's new place. You got TJ, you got Portia. I said Portia. You got Drew that came there to sit there and see the place. You got Stella. Um, I will sit there and say this. So Trina more or less is kind of seeming a little bit on edge, and she talks to TJ, and she talks about her feelings as far as being like wanting to sit there and tell everyone that she's innocent, but it's just mentally taxing. Especially when people are sitting there saying that you're guilty of something that you didn't do. And of course, TJ, kind of tells his experience, and he doesn't do it to sit there and play down her experience, but he's had an incident in the past where he was accused of something that he didn't do. Now, of course, this was during a time period that I didn't watch, but I knew about him being accused of stealing and using somebody's credit card or whatever, and how even going to jail, having Rick Lansing Sonny, Sonny's brother, Sonny's half brother, bail, get him out of this trouble. Um, and so my point is, he understands what that feels like, and just on so many different levels. And without getting into too much detail, I've I've experienced that. Not on the level of TJ, like, well, let's put it this way: it didn't go as far as it did with TJ, and that's pretty much just because of how I handled it. If I would have handled it in a very different way, yeah, it could have went sideways pretty fast. Um, but I mean, the point is that I know what it feels like, and it's one. How do I sit there and describe this? Not getting too. I wouldn't sit there and say emotional, but getting too personal. Point is, again, it's sort of like what he said. You didn't do anything wrong, and yet you're having somebody accuse you. And that's annoying as hell. It's more than annoying, but I'm not going to sit there and use any four-letter words. Also, being accused of something because of, well, is also pretty four-letter words I'm not going to use. So when he said that, it definitely hit me. And of course, he didn't say that to downplay her experience, but he can at least level with her to some extent. Anyway, Marshall comes in, and TJ's like, yeah, I invited him, because he's family and this, that, and third. And, Curtis just kind of had that look like, I mean, that's cool and everything like that, but you should probably not just be inviting people, without giving me a heads up. Just a thought. Um, Stella and Portia talk a little bit mostly about Curtis and Trina and everything like that. Marshall talks to Curtis. Now, Curtis says something pretty interesting after Curtis was talking to Drew. Because, he didn't make a decision about his position or whatever. And I'm like, what fantasy land do you live in where you just expect a job to still be there, but whatever. So Drew's like, listen, you let me know when you know. And he leaves. Now, Curtis talks about, taking a vacation. I forgot the place he said where he was going to take it, but wherever it was, at first I thought it choked him up because, oh man, this is something from my past. But it turns out that, when he left, he went outside to, look at the view or whatever and to take his medication. Now, Stella said something. When Stella came here, Stella was like, no, listen, you can't let him know, like, what's going on. Whatever secret it is, okay, let me sit down and see if I can try to explain this. Part of the reasons, part of the reasons why, a lot of people are losing interest in this whole Marshall storyline is that they're giving you breadcrumbs. And this is due to a lot of different things. One, you have a large cast, like too large of a cast. It works in some ways, but in other ways it doesn't. When people listen to like, man, I wonder what's going on with the whole Liz storyline. I think it was like 3 weeks at least until we got into this whole Liz storyline. And then at some point they'll get back to the Marshall thing, and people are like, man, I don't know what's going on. Like, why is it taking so long? It's like because you have like so many damn people on this show. Anyway, they still talk about this secret, and Stella's worried that she's going to be collateral damage, and she doesn't want whatever this secret is to affect her relationship with Curtis. So everyone's well, Drew leaves. Well, Drew was about to leave, and I think Marshall's about to leave or something like that. And Portia's like, let's take a picture. So everyone gathers to sit there and take this picture. Now, at some point, Stella starts to feel dizzy and she collapsed. Now, of course, if you saw the previews, which I mean the promo or whatever for this week, that's something that happens. I'm gonna be honest, I rarely actually watch the promos, and I feel like I kind of should. But also, I don't want to because I don't want to be spoiled. So it's kind of mm, anyway, whatever it is, she collapses and everything like that. So yeah. Oh, and Laura and Victor sit there and talk. Um, Now, for the most part, it's just usually them. It's just usually Laura sitting there sniping at Victor, and Victor sitting there being very passive aggressive. But it does come to a point where, Victor's like, at the end of the day, I just want to make the world a better place for the next generation. Um, I guess maybe it's just his tone or whatever. It just had Laura looking at him kind of funny. When Victor kept talking about danger and we got to sit there and kind of buckle down and make sure that we're secure as a family because enemies are sitting there circling, can come at us at any moment, at any time. At first, I was like, Victor, where are you going with this? Because he said that a couple of times, and after a while, I was like, okay, yep, Victor's sitting there being ominous again. Now, given the fact that Jennifer Smith is, you know, gathering up power and money and stuff like that, makes you sit there and think that maybe this is what Victor Smith is talking about as far as, enemies and coming into, like hunkering down and making sure that, we're a strong, united family front. I think this is what he means by, yada, 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 pretty much what I said. Um, I'm going to be honest, again, it came at breadcrumbs, and, this is partly due to the fact that Jace just is very overbloated with the characters. Don't get me wrong, I love most of the characters on the show. Okay, I do. And even though some of the characters I don't really like, there are certain interesting aspects about these characters. Um, but sometimes I feel like this show, in a lot of ways, kind of mirrors Young and the Restless. Because Young and the Restless has the same amount of large characters. And the only difference with Young and the Restless so far, and if you actually watch this, you know what I'm talking about. But you can at least kind of see where I'm going. when they don't really give like when it like GH tends to sometimes favor certain characters more than others, and the same thing with YNR. But with YNR's case, when they favor certain characters, the characters are kind of just there doing mundane kind of things, and it's just not really that interesting. It shows so much worse in YNR. Yeah, I'm like, where the hell was I actually going with this? Oh yeah, I was talking about bloated casting. Just double check my notes. I feel like that's about it. I really do. I feel like that's about it. What a day. What a day, what a day, what a day. An hour's worth of sleep. That was it. I literally closed my eyes. I was just having this bad case of insomnia. And I kept sitting there thinking like, man, I know I can sit there and do the GH review because that's a show I've been watching since high school. Um and days I'm gonna be able to do because it's a show that has B&B. I'm only saying this now because I know some of the people that watch this also watch my other reviews. So, GH, obviously I did it. Days I'm gonna do. B&B tonight, as far as tonight goes, I'm gonna, do it because it's like 18 minutes. YNR, I got like an hour's worth of sleep, so I'm surprised I'm actually still standing. I'm surprised I actually made it through the day. I'm gonna watch it, but I don't think I'm gonna want to doing a review on it. I'm gonna watch it to keep myself in the loop, and I definitely will be doing it tomorrow. But tonight, I actually want to go to sleep. Tonight, I'm actually really tired. But I want to do this because I'm like, I'm gonna watch it and I'm gonna talk about it. So I want to thank everyone for watching in general. I know it came out later than it usually does. I'm not gonna sit there and get all emotional or anything like that. But I just want to thank everyone for watching in general. I was watching this and you watch the others, and even when you go on live, and when I go on lives, I just want to sit there and thank everyone for um, just the support and your comments and stuff like that. And even on stuff where you don't agree with what I have to say, and sometimes I may take conversations and turn them left, you'll still at least hear me out, and that means a lot. So, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe, and I will see you in the next video.